about you, but through Christ I can do all. Stand up tall with my left foot, post up on the wall. Easy if we fall in the streets, life can get hard. Streets used to be a lot different from what man recall. Me a aim for my post like a soccer ball. Feel run the road that don't need a map at all. Babylon them want to hold me with a strap at all. But man a liar, me no Cancer nor Capricorn.
Though they want to see me fall, I'm gonna be okay. Though my back's against the wall, I'm gonna be okay. They fighting me now, I'm gonna be okay. Jehovah eyes are watching me now, I'm gonna be okay.
Welcome to Hope in the Six. I'm your host, Eddie Martinez, and today we have Rai Reece. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Great to have you. Let the audience know what you do, a little bit about yourself.
Sure. My name is Dr. Rai Reece, and I am a professor in Justice Studies at Humber College Lakeshore campus.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Shout out all my peeps at the Lakeshore campus.
I actually been to Lakeshore campus with Louis March. We did a little thing.
Yeah, it's beautiful. We have the most beautiful campus.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go to a video, then we're going to get back into some stuff.
All right, cool. Some of the pictures that women that they drew, and I asked them permission if I could share them with you folks publicly, and they said yes. And just to give you an idea, there are similar cross-cutting issues, whether it's provincial or federal. Women are struggling with undiagnosed or misdiagnosed mental health issues. They are definitely struggling with poverty. They are struggling with depression, with residual trauma. 80%, 85% of women, both systems have been physically and or sexually abused, or a combination of both. Their childhood experiences, someone mentioned, have been taken away from them. So this was really therapeutic for them, and just very humbling for me that they were willing to share. So there are a number of different issues that women face across the system. So this is just one picture that a woman drew. Thank you. So I won't read these, but I just put in some quotes that these are the post-release interviews. So I also interviewed women who had completed the program at Vanier, and they're now out in the community. A lot of them acknowledge that the landscape horticulture program was great. It did break the monotony of jail life. And they were very honest, and they said, I don't think I'm going to become a landscape technician, but I now know I can do a college course. So Humber faculty go into Vanier and teach this course. It is taught exactly the same way it would be taught in the community. And that's really important. So folks in the community, whether they're, and folks inside, are getting the same level of learning. Right? Things are not modified because these are women who are incarcerated, and that was really, really important. I'll just maybe read the first one, because it's a woman that we interviewed who said, I had anxiety about coming home and adjusting to the changes, employment mostly. This pardon thing is bullshit because it takes 10 years. It really comes down hard on people that are trying to change, because having that over your head makes it impossible. You're just the worst thing you've ever done. If you don't have a good support system at home in some way, it's so hard. And I remember this woman that I met, and she had a lot of anxiety about being released, and she was incredibly ashamed of her criminal record. And when I interviewed Black women, one of the things that Black women told me was that my community is embarrassed. I've embarrassed my community. My family is ashamed of me. I'm carrying all this internal shame and pain, and I think that's really incredibly it's damaging. Because the reality is, folks, and many of us in this room know this, it doesn't take much for any of us in this room to change places with somebody who's incarcerated.
Okay, let's talk about it. Women in the justice system. Yeah. This is a subject that are not really talked about as much, because it's predominantly men, right? So it's because of a smaller population, it doesn't get the highlight. But today we're going to highlight it from Dr. Rai. All right, let's go.
All right, let's get into this.
Yeah.
So first of all, thank you so much for having me.
No problem.
And I really appreciate the opportunity to discuss women who are inside, because women do constitute a very small segment of the federal prison population in particular, but the overall incarceration rates in Canada. There are not a lot of women inside, so oftentimes a lot of the programs and the designing of those programs and the infrastructure and all those pieces are usually based on a male model, right? And it's not that that's not important. For sure, it's important, but it also means that the specific issues around women are negated. So we don't get to have these conversations. So I'm really excited that you are allowing me this opportunity. So I want to just start by saying that. And also just shout out to all my ladies inside who are holding it down. I see you, and I will see you soon. I'm scheduled to be up in the federal joint soon, so I'll see you soon. So yeah, Women Inside, Eddie, it is part of my work that I've been doing for years. I started working as a volunteer. Actually, the first prison I went into was actually a men's prison. It was actually Joyceville Institution as a volunteer. It was for a Black History Month event. And I was at this time, I was part of a grassroots, very local grassroots organization in Toronto called the Prisoners Justice Action Committee. And we were just a bunch of like activists and students. I was a student still at that time. I had finished my doctorate. And we just got together and we were like, no one's doing anything on prison issues. And we knew there was a disproportionate number of Black men inside, Indigenous folks inside. The youth incarceration rates were, pretty high. At one point, Canada incarcerated more youth than any other country in the world. People might not know that. So we wanted to do something locally organizing. And so I met some really dope folks who were in that collective. And they brought me into the collective. And we started organizing these prisoner justice film festivals in the city. And we did the first ever Prisoners Justice Film Festival ever in Toronto, which was really, really cool. We had like no money, and we got space and kind, and we had people donate. It was really, really great. But what was really cool about it was that it allowed for folks who never had spoken to about situations in prison, never met ex-prisoners. We tried to debunk the stigma around having a criminal record, et cetera, et cetera. So all these pieces that we were able, I think, to bring to the fold. And so that's really how I got my my community grounding, working with folks on the inside and the outside, people who also had been released. And then my first official entry into a prison was Joyceville Institution. That was a men's prison. That was for a Black History Month event. And I will say it was, I've never been afraid to go inside. People have all these kind of fears. We're so caught up with like Hollywood representations of what institution, jails, and prisons look like. But that wasn't a concern for me because I knew people just, who had struggled in different parts of their life. And so my interest in going inside was never voyeuristic. It's never been to kind of look at, it's always been to learn and engage and find out really what are the root causes in terms of why folks, make choices and may end up in carceral spaces, right? So that was really what I was super interested in. And so I had this opportunity through these folks, this community group I was working with, to go inside. Went in and then just was completely blown away by the generosity of so many, and heartbroken. If I'm
definitely
also heartbroken, seeing so many of like our brothers inside, and then getting to know some men inside and like writing to folks inside and getting to know their stories and just really trying and
so tell me this,
what I could to support them.
So when you got now to the women's side. Right? Because this is not the small population that people don't really know about, and it's not highlighted as much, right? So when you got on the women's side, what was your experience? What you felt? How did you perceive it? Because now you was working with the men, you see the men, and you understand that. But now you're over to the sister side, the females, you know what I mean? So
which is a very different experience.
So what was that experience like?
It was very different because I started. I was in a men's prison, and then that one of the same folks that brought me in, she was like, there's this position. Are you interested? You're doing research on women in prison inside, and so that's how I got into working with women inside. And then I went in to the women's federal prison. There's only one in Ontario for women, which is Grand Valley Institution. And so the federal system and women inside was really, really different. The needs are different. The treatment is different. The undiagnosed, the misdiagnosis or the underdiagnosis of mental health issues runs rampant. One of the most fundamental things that I learned is that about 2/3 of all federally sentenced women have experienced some form of physical and or sexual abuse, so that history is very, very important to understand. Mental health issues are high in both the men's and the women's, but I was working with women are high. And again, what makes the women's population particularly interesting is that there are mothers who were the primary caregivers of their children when they were incarcerated, right? So it's a whole host of issues you're dealing with, separation anxiety, depression, suicidal ideation, and the root cause in a lot of those, and drug substance uses. and a lot of issues that are really particular to being a mother. And so that was very stark for me. And I didn't have children at the time when I was doing this research, and it was still very glaring. And so I had the opportunity to meet women in the federal system who shared their stories with me.
So when you talk about, you said the treatment are different. What do you mean about the treatment?
Well, so there's a number of ways treatment is administered in carceral spaces, right? The first thing I think it's important to understand is that security trumps everything in federal and provincial institutions. So that's always the utmost, like the most important thing to the system, right, in terms of how the system runs. So like if there's a lockdown, everything just stops, right? And that can interfere with particular modes of treatment for folks who are, struggling with mental health or opioids or whatever the case may be, right? And so for women, we know that just based on research, women tend to have higher needs around like mental health. So those things are really, like that concept, understanding that is really important in terms of how treatment is administered. And we know that particularly for Indigenous women, they're often placed in maximum security units at a higher rate than their white counterparts because they're struggling with mental health.
Okay.
Right, so that's what I'm talking about. Like,
okay.
So not just necessarily the administering of medication, but just like a treatment, holistic approach to treatment.
Okay, so we have to go to a break, but we'll be back. Stay tuned. Hope in the 6.
At Benjamin Law, we understand the real cost of personal injuries. As the victim of an accident, you may be the one who's physically hurt, but your main concern is that your family are the ones who will pay the price. Benjamin Law will be there for you, helping, supporting, and working tirelessly to resolve your personal injury case. Call 1-855-899-4878 or visit benjaminlaw.ca and let our family of lawyers help your family.
Hello, my name is Anisha, and I'm the production manager of TCN Network. Have you ever wanted to host your own show? Do you have a message to share? Well, you're in luck. We are looking for dynamic and unique individuals to host their own shows. We are seeking people who are committed, motivated, and energetic. Do you want to be the next Jimmy Fallon, Ellen DeGeneres, or Shane and Ryan from BuzzFeed Unsolved? Start here. Fill out the Propose a Show form on mytcntv.com. We're here to educate, support, and build the community. Can you lead by example? Go the extra mile and seek knowledge? Are you humble, disciplined, responsible, selfless, and enthusiastic? Those are our core values. And if you identify with them, you could be part of a growing network that focuses on positivity and uplifting our community. We can't wait for you to join us on TCN Network and hope to hear from you soon.
And remain still, the king.
How about the Hope program? Yeah, I heard of Hope. Faith, Hope, and Charity. Nah, man, I ain't talking about y'all. Man. If he dying, how come he ain't dead yet? How about that? When is he gonna be dead?
That's a good question.
Once a thief, always a thief. Even I know that.
Oh, man, here we go.
Anybody got some smack?
Oh, man, get out of here, man. Welcome back to Hope in the 6. I'm your host, Eddie Martinez, and today we have a special guest, Dr. Rai Reece.
Thank you, Eddie.
Yes, so shouts out to the man who produced that video, and shout out to Jason Fresh. You know, me and him were acting, you know, putting our little acting skills
cool.
on. You know, but music is a language that connects with the generation of today. You know, and all generations, but the young people, they gravitate to music. So we kind of put in music. You know what I mean? We do music to speak their language and connect with them.
Very cool.
But most of those clips was real clips. So if you see somebody getting arrested, it wasn't acting. So those are real things.
Yeah.
You know, we're out there, you know, and that video was to demonstrate that we're out there in the streets. We're not just in here just talking, like, you know what I mean? We talk, but we're out there also.
Yeah,
so
no, that's dope.
we got to get out there and connect. We got to go into the hoods. Like I tell people that I come in contact with, we're corporate and we're in the hood. We're everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Because we're real. We're trying to really reach everybody. You know what I'm saying? I was in a meeting in City Hall, and it was people that don't have a clue of what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, because they're not out there. So they're trying to come up with solutions to deal with gun violence and certain things. And I'm like, I'm grateful that I was there, because now I could shed light on certain things. So we need people, representation that understand the communities, the marginalized people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
that's dope. Yep.
Back to you though, and the
cool.
women's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to talk about black women locked up. Like, what was your experience with that? And tell me how that, tell me about that.
Yeah, so so black women who are inside. So we know that there are not a lot of women in general, and there's even so the black women constitute an even smaller population.
Right.
But the disproportionality comes based on the numbers we occupy in the Canadian population, right? So my work with black women specifically inside began when I was doing my doctoral research in 2000, and I started my PhD in 2002. Oh my gosh, so long ago. And I started doing research on just prisons in general, and then I realized I'm like, there's black women inside. And I was doing all this work, and I could not find anything specific. I couldn't find anything in Canada about women inside. I'd been to Nova Institution in Nova Scotia through my work, and I had met a few black women there, and I know that Nova Scotia has a particularly very rich black cultural history. Couldn't find anything. Couldn't find any research. Couldn't find anyone to talk to, and I said, nah, this isn't right. So I've got to do something about this. So when I came back up here, and I had access to black women inside because of my work at PASAN, being the women's prison coordinator. And so I started meeting all these black women inside. And when I first met them, there was reluctance to speak with me. Right? And I understood that, right? Because there's so much stigma and shame in black communities around having a criminal record. And black women carry so much of that shame, right? And so here it is, seeing another black woman come from the outside, I think they were a little hesitant and tentative, because we don't know who she is. We don't know if she's grounds. We don't know what she's in here to do, etc. But over time, I built trust, and then I really got into it. So I had the opportunity to conduct interviews with women inside after I got clearance from the Correctional Service of Canada to do my research. And I was able to complete the first, as far as I know, one of the first, if not the only study that specifically interviewed federally sentenced black women in Ontario, right? At the only prison we have here. And then, Eddie, wow, like the stories that women shared with me, black women shared with me, were just phenomenal. They blew my mind. Lots of issues, like similar issues. So what we know unequivocally is most of the black women who are incarcerated in the federal system in Ontario are incarcerated for non-violent offenses. Usually Schedule 2 offenses. So these are drug offenses, right? For drug muling charges, right? And so I didn't, when I was doing my research, I said, okay, so this is what the stats show, but there's always a story behind the statistics, right? So I wanted to know what were the social structural causes in terms of why women were facing this particular type of charges, right? They're muling charges. And so I started talking to women, and they were gracious enough to share their stories with me. And you start hearing about like how, cycles of poverty or the feminization of poverty and struggling. And, when wage earners are taken out of the community. So when black men are incarcerated at a mass rate because of racism and poverty, et cetera, that then puts a particular burden on women, right, as well. Black women specifically, and black women being lone mothers and all these other pieces. So I started to find out all these things, and then women were sharing with me their stories of resilience and strength and sadness and all these other pieces. And I started putting together pieces of the puzzle, finding out that wow, there's a systemic problem happening here. There is a rate of over-incarceration. There are disproportionate dispositions, so sentencing dispositions that Black women face. There, of course, are issues of racism. Citizenship was a huge issue also. The fear of deportation, lots of issues around stigma, family, separation of children. So there was a whole host of social factors.
Are there anything being done to address those issues? That's what I really want to know.
So that was at the time when I started doing this research, it was a lot of statistics and facts, and this is what's happening. And I said to women, because I wanted to know, I said, okay, when you are released, what do you need?
Right.
Like, what would you need? And unequivocally, every woman that I interviewed said, it can't happen when we were released. It has to happen before we're released. So the pre-release planning is a huge piece for women. And pre-release planning, particularly for Black women, means understanding the cultural specificities of Black women's lives. This kind of one-size-fits-all template, like, okay, this works for you, this works for it's not going to cut it. Right. So we have particular cultural understandings and needs that we need. So something as basic as, for example, women said to me, I can't get hair products. I can't get black hair products inside, right? And we think,
gotta look good, but I understand.
But it's I think it's less about the looking good and just more about like self-care,
right?
And having that comfort level, right?
Of course.
It's like when I go to the black hair store to get my hair products. I'm not going to go to so something like that. But the system does not account for that, for those kind of cultural specificities. Or there are times where you want food that's specific to your culture, and that's seen as a special interest, or So there's those little things. But the pre-release planning was a big thing. Employment and housing security and reconnecting with family is a big thing. I would say those were the seminal issues that cross-cutted. And so women need a social structural support system that's going to actually help them in an incremental way. So step by step, and have that begin in before they're released. Obviously, they have pre-release planning and have that carry on and follow up post-release.
So two things I want to ask. Well, we're going to have to go to break. But I want to talk about in the video that we played when you were in action, you spoke about them, the woman being saying they're embarrassed. Or they embarrass their community.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go to break and we're gonna go to another segment. But I definitely want to talk about the being embarrassed. You know what I mean, like embarrassing their community.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So we're gonna go to a break and we'll be back after these short messages. Stay tuned. Hope in the Six with Dr. Rai Reece. Bless.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
Hello, my name is Anisha, and I'm the production manager of TCN Network. Have you ever wanted to host your own show? Do you have a message to share? Well, you're in luck. We are looking for dynamic and unique individuals to host their own shows. We are seeking people who are committed, motivated, and energetic. Do you want to be the next Jimmy Fallon, Ellen DeGeneres, or Shane and Ryan from BuzzFeed Unsolved? Start here. Fill out the Propose a Show form on mytcntv.com. We're here to educate, support, and build the community. Can you lead by example? Go the extra mile and seek knowledge? Are you humble, disciplined, responsible, selfless, and enthusiastic? Those are our core values. And if you identify with them, you could be part of a growing network that focuses on positivity and uplifting our community. We can't wait for you to join us on TCN Network and hope to hear from you soon. My name is Anisha, and I'm the production manager of TCN Network.
Welcome back to Hope in the Six. I'm your host, Eddie Martinez. Today we have Dr. Rai Reece, and we're having a beautiful conversation. I'm glad to have you. This is so interesting. At this moment, I'm going to go into a reading of a letter. You know, sometimes I read letters or the newsletter from Cell Count, you know, or a letter from the inmate. So one of my guys wrote me, you know, shouts out to Aaron, because he connect. That's the street team, Hope Street team. So we reach out. We go out in the community, find what's going on, and see how we can help. You know what I mean? This guy's story is particular, is this different one, a unique one, and we're going to get into it. But I'm going to read the letter that he wrote me. Cool. You know, there's a voice, their voice from the inside out, right? Right. It's a beautiful thing. So it reads as follows. Dear children of Israel, my name is Lamar Skeet, the streets of Screwface Waranto. Know me as Ammo. On SoundCloud, my handle is Lyrical Ammunition. I am 29 years old in November. A Negro, I'm going to say Negro because I don't like the other word. A Negro almost 30, so they calling me a OG. I turned 18 in Hamilton Wentworth Detention Center, young offender. I turned 20 in the notorious Don Jail. I spent my entire 20s incarcerated. When I was 17, Toronto police charged me for attempted murder with my younger brother, Jay Famous Littles. The trial was scheduled to last 10 business days. However, on the day the trial was set to begin, my charge of attempted murder was withdrawn. My brother went to trial and was acquitted of the accusations in 5 business days. On January 14, 2010, homicide charged me for first-degree murder of a guy, I'm not going to say his name, the same victim of the attempt murder that was withdrawn. So the same guy, right? Yeah. While I was in the holding cell at 11 Division, waiting to go to Old City Hall in the morning, I hollered at a Negro from Parkdale. I asked him, yo, what's it like in the Don? His reply stuck with me until this day. Word forward, in order to survive the Don, you have to be heartless. You're going to see the man them crush a man so bad that you're going to go to one of the man them and say, yo, the man them, I love that. I love the slang. Yo. It's so crazy. Yo, the man them didn't even have to crush him like that. During my first 6 months at the Don, I seen Negroes get stabbed up, beaten severely. I seen Negroes slapped, men with their jail shoes. I seen a man lift a man over his head and throw him. I seen Negroes put men to sleep with a sneak attack, sleeper hole tactic, then jumped on the stomach repeatedly until packages flew out of their bum, I guess. These raw realities arise the reason why I rap the lyrics. Live from the Don Jail. I have a photo of this young man, Lamar. Can we get that photo up? Live from the Don Jail in the cage where they have me. Real scary. Negroes get stabbed up and beaten severely. Have your face looking nasty. Hustlers, killers, gorillas, and grizzly bears that put you in a wheelchair like Drake in Degrassi. This ain't Young Money, Birdman, and Wheezy on the track. This that jumper off, shoes up, meet me in the back. Grimy Negroes, put you on the sleaze, you for your pack. 2010 bars behind bars. Still relevant 9 years later. Timeless. Blessed is the Most High. The fairness of my murder trial was undermined when the trial judge allowed the jury to hear evidence of an attempt murder charge that I have already been proven innocent of, as well as inviting racial stereotypes into the courtroom, allowing the jury to hear lyrics from Live from the Don. I told 360 those verses were going to make history. 360 is the Negro who made it possible for me to premiere these verses on cityclouds.com. It's a blessing to know my name, and a part of my story was published in the Los Angeles Times. XXL magazine website also featured my situation on their platform. It touches my heart when people on Insta, #FreeLamarSkeet, even though I am wrongfully convicted for using rap lyrics, I refuse to stop fighting. I will kick reality and poetry for the children of Israel until I die. Rap is my passion. #FreeLamarSkeet. Yours truly, Lamar Ammo Skeet, a.k.a. Lyrical Ammunition. So this is very powerful. You know, free Lamar Skeet. I'm touched by his story. Like I said, shouts out to Aaron, our Hope Street team, who reached out to his family and gave me wind of it. You know what I'm saying? Because we want to give voice to those that are locked up. You see, Hope, the program that I run in particularly, it deals with offenders that are guilty. I deal with people that are like criminally charged, been to prison for crime. You know what I mean? Much less this man who's saying he's innocent. You know what I mean? Like, I haven't done nothing. I'm guilty of rapping some dope lyrics that are kind of aggressive. You know what I mean? And that's the harsh reality of today's society. People rap stuff. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes people are actually doing something, what they're saying, but they're sometimes just expressing what goes on in my neighborhood. For sure. So if I say, you know, like reggae artists will say fire burn on certain type of people, that don't mean they're gonna literally do it. So something happened, fire burn on the man, and guess what happened? Are you gonna go look out for this guy? And you know what I'm saying? So unfortunately, like he said, he was acquitted, like he was dismissed, and they're gonna bring it back and try to. And the jury, you know how they try to convince them. Even but I don't know. It's very sad. You know what I'm saying? But it's very harsh. But shouts out to Lamar Skeet and his family, Stephanie Skeet, the rest of them. You know, rough reality. He was found guilty. Something happened to the guy. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, so the guy was murdered or whatever. They're gonna use his lyrics. You know what I'm saying? Okay, snitches get stitches. You know what I'm saying? Snitches get stitches. So something happened to this guy, and they say, you're gonna, you know, they couldn't find nobody. So you know what I'm saying? So it's unfortunate. We're gonna fight for justice for the individual. But what's your take on it? Because were you in those? You said you was at Don Jail for a little bit. Were you there?
No. We used to do silent protests outside the Don Jail, but I did Vanier. So I went. I used to do most of my work.
Do you know about the stories about Don when you know, back in the days?
I know too many stories about the Don Jail. I worked with someone who did time at the Don. And what I will say is he ain't lying. Unfortunately, not making light, of course, of that situation. So just want to send him lots of prayers up and bless up for that. Absolutely. But it is. Yeah, it's rough, and I think before it was at the break, you and I were talking, Eddie, about the community and. Hope is not just hope in the sticks, but it's about community connections. And one of the things I've always strived to do in my work is to not just be a researcher. Right. And it's really important for me to share with my students that my research is not just done to kind of be shelved. Right. I'm not writing things and trying to publish things so they just sit on the shelf. I really, really want to highlight the plight of what's happening to women inside. My passion is working with women and young girls. My research base is Black women inside, of course. And so it's really important for me. I don't do research on Black women. I always say I do it with them.
That's good.
And so
my like lab rats, right?
Absolutely. We are not. And so I really try and make an effort to have their stories and they're kind of like how he was speaking verbatim. So when I publish, if I do an interview with women, I don't edit it for syntax. I want to keep it as organic. And if that's how someone's vernacular is their speech, then that's just an expression of who they are. But I'm trying, and it's not just about me. Like you said, hope is not just you. And my work is really only as strong as the women who share their stories with me and who are brave enough. And, one of the things he wanted me to talk about was this notion of embarrassment and stigma. And so many Black women that I've spoken with when I was doing my research, and up till today, because I still am very much still connected to going inside. I just finished this big research project at Vanier. I'm scheduled to do a workshop at Grand Valley Institution in June. So one of the constant threads or themes is this notion of embarrassment. And we as a society have done a really good job of making folks who have made mistakes and have records feel like they're pariahs. And that cross-cuts race and class and sexuality, but I'm speaking for my people. We have to do better because these are mothers and sisters and aunties and, people who are really trying for a better life. And, for whatever reasons, made choices. Some weren't the great choices. Some they didn't feel like were actual choices in terms of having free will. And they ended up with records or they ended up inside. And then coming home is hard.
Definitely. Reintegration is a piece that is very struggling. Criminal record. Another thing, when it comes to embarrassment, when they get out of jail, you see them coming out with the green on, the guys with the orange on, and it's just like they have to walk the few walks wherever. Lucky thing we had Young Street Mission was close to the court, so it was at least a hop, skip, and a jump there, and we'd give you clothes. But now we're on Spadina, so it's like you know, you're gonna have to find your way home, but you're gonna be you know what I mean? You're gonna be wearing those uniform until you get where you, and that's an embarrassment again because you got everybody watching you. So every now and then you see me, I wear an orange jumpsuit when I read the letters, or the news article because I want to like show, like make them feel the characteristics of the person when I'm reading the letter, you know. But it's very embarrassing. But we got to go to a break. We'll be back, Hope in the 6 with Dr. Rai.
Have you ever wanted to host your own show? Do you have a message to share? Well, you're in luck. We are looking for dynamic and unique individuals to host their own shows. We are seeking people who are committed, motivated, and energetic. Do you want to be the next Jimmy Fallon, Ellen DeGeneres, or Shane and Ryan from BuzzFeed Unsolved? Start here. Fill out the Propose a Show form on mytcntv.com. We're here to educate, support, and build the community. Can you lead by example? Go the extra mile and seek knowledge? Are you humble, disciplined, responsible, selfless, and enthusiastic? Those are our core values. And if you identify with them, you could be part of a growing network that focuses on positivity and uplifting our community. We can't wait for you to join us on TCN Network and hope to hear from you soon.
What's going on, everybody? This is Jason Fresh, part of the Hope team. This is Bars for Bars, and we got Baller B.
Hey, this life is too hard. The world is only getting colder, and I got a million sitting on my shoulder. I try to open up, they close me up like a folder, feeling kind of young, but I know I'm only getting older. This life is too hard, been making it too large. People say I'm passing you, homie, I'm just too far. Shift your ass from NASA now, I'll bring you right back down to Mars. God's here by my side and he's bringing me hope, so take note, class in session, ain't no time for jokes.
Welcome back to the Hope in the 6. I'm your host, Eddie Martinez, and we got Dr. Rai Reece.
Hey, what's up?
Blessings. Shouts out to the street team, Jason Fresh and Baller B for the bars. You know, but you have to be careful what you say nowadays. I'll be telling the youth now because they will hold it against you.
Yeah,
you know
but that letter you read was it was really.
But I want to ask you something, and I know it's going to be on the spot because we're on camera right now.
All right, let's
go.
I
want to pry into that. Like, I know you're a professor, so you have the platform to now study stuff in regards. So this is a subject now. It'll be awesome to have your kids now, students, go into it and just see if they don't, they don't have to form a fact opinion, but it's an opinion just to say, does this seem reasonable? Something like that. Could you kind of find some way, like some point, you know what I'm saying, to squeeze it in curriculum? Because because what happened in school is so black and white. There's a textbook, and everything is just not so relevant. People come out, because I have volunteers and I have a lot of people, and they have so much education, but when it comes to dealing with what we deal with, they're clueless and they're kind of nervous. So they're not really being properly prepped for real life and real situations. So it's good to touch in not only historical, gaudy, and old ancient stuff that happened, which is good, but the stuff with current affairs and current events and current situations. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, that's what's up. So I think that's because I teach a course. Actually, it's one of my favorite courses. It has a really nice title. It's called Institutional Correctional Practices, and so it sounds really nice and it's flowery. But it is a course on jails and prisons, and I teach that course I've changed that course over the years, but I teach it from a social justice perspective. And so students come in there and they think they're kind of going to learn like 101, this is how jails and prisons work. And okay, I'll be a better CO. And then they come in my class and they're like, what is happening here? Why are we talking about the prison industrial complex? Why are we talking about mass incarceration? Why are we talking about disproportionality of like black folks inside, indigenous folks inside? And then I'm asking them, what are you going to do about it? Right? And so I've been really fortunate, really blessed to have a great job. I love my work. I love being able to go into the classroom. It doesn't feel like work to me. I'm really thankful that God saw fit to give me this gift, because I really have the opportunity to not just, like, I don't teach, I also educate. That's my goal. If I'm teaching you, then I'm failing. I'm feeling. I want to educate folks, and I want to inspire young people.
Right. We need modern. We need the correctional officers, police officers in a different mind space. We need them to be more.
Yeah.
Like you say, if they're serving and protecting and like they need to be more engaged in that part.
Right.
And more instead of
serving and protecting who?
Disciplinary. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Chastisement is more discipline. You know what I'm saying? Than trying to help and you know what I mean, build community.
Yeah.
So if they have that mindset, that's why I was good when I was doing my thing. You know what I'm saying? Because I had that mindset. You know what I'm saying? But thank God that I'm doing what I'm doing now because it's a bigger platform. And we got people, you know, so many people locked up behind bars that are innocent. You see what I'm saying? That,
we have a huge remand population.
You spoke to me earlier about the dying thief. You know what I'm saying? And a little deeper in the concept, it was 3 people on the cross. You had Christ, and you had the let's say the good thief, bad thief. You know what I'm saying? The reason why they call the other guy a good thief is because he was remorseful. If you're remorseful, you have the possibility of change because you want to change, right? Dying thief. That's me. You know what I'm saying? Then you have the bad thief that he don't care. You know what I'm saying? So he can't change. So that's the philosophy. Like you got people that want to change. So we need people to you know who sign up to get in social services and in all sectors and spectrum to say, hey, I really want to help. You know what I'm saying? And be committed to that. So when I get volunteers, I say, are you sure you want to do this? I get them the ugly truth. I don't just say, okay. And I mean, oh, what if somebody get in your face? What if that's, you want to serve that person? That guy was assault. He was charged with assault on a woman.
Right.
How
are you gonna work with that person?
Like, you know what I'm saying? And they looking like this, like, oh,
yeah.
like, oh man, they wasn't ready for those things. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a reality. And if you're geared to that, then you would do good. But if you're not geared to, you're gonna start malicing clients.
That's exactly
what
I tell.
And you sending people to people that are not gonna malice you and judge you. So we really want to change the mindset. With that said, I hopefully, you know what I'm saying? I know I'm not gonna make you commit on air because I hold it against you. But yeah, I mean, try to get these stuff if possible. You know what I'm saying? I want light to this. I want to open up his story because it's very important. And we want to really know what's going on in the justice system. But we got another video before we close out, so let's take a look at it. Hoping the 6th.
And some of those struggles for sure are ID, right? Having identification. Employment's always a huge one. Addictions and mental health is another big one. And that one, it's a very long, powerful one. I can pass that one. Thank you. Another, this was cool, another picture from one of the women inside, says New Beginnings. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Here's hope. Reference there. Today's a new day. College. She was really excited about the fact that potentially she could enroll in college or work towards that. Never be bullied into silence. Accept no one's definition of yourself. And be you. And home, of course. And this one says, I am strong. So really, you know, very simple but very powerful, I think. Again, not that different than who we are. We all have probably the same dreams for ourselves and our kids that are in this room, regardless of the color of our skin or what our gender may be. And that is that we are probably more alike than we are different. So thank you so much.
All right, so that was awesome. You and these young ladies look like you got a good relationship. They drawing pictures, they're expressing. Talk to me about that. You know, that the reason why you actually chose to do that.
Yeah, so that was based on a research project that I did, and you know, shout out to Humber for the funding, and I'm super really proud. I got a really big research award for that last year. But we have.
Hold on. You got a research award?
I did. All
right. You don't just say that all quick and keep it going.
All right.
That's a blessing.
It was blessed. It was and it was really great because then it highlighted that Humber gives one. We have 3 campuses and we give 1 award for the whole, you know, all 3 campuses. So I'm very proud of that. But that award is not mine. It is shared with the women that I worked with. We have a apprenticeship program, the only one of its kind in any Canadian college, which allows women at Vanier Institution to get their level 1 landscape apprenticeship, and they get a certificate from Humber College. So it doesn't have anything, it doesn't say Vanier on it. And so I always say this gives women currency. And one of the things I want to highlight before we leave is that we need more apprenticeship programs for women inside. Women want these programs because trade skills are important. And particularly when you have a record, and you know, we talked about, you know, when you fill out that job application, it says, are you bondable? And you can't check yes. It automatically, not only does it do something to your self-esteem, but it literally puts you back into the possibility, the realm of recidivism, right? Because that's right. People need to survive, right? Yes. And so we need to change our mentality and thinking around what reintegration actually looks like. If we can include and incorporate skills-based training programs, not only for women, but for men as well, just in the system across, it gives people currency. It gives people hope. It gives people something that they have that's tangible, that's transferable when they come out of the joint, right? And so that, what I was talking about in that clip is that program that Humber has. And the pictures were, my very last session was Women Inside that I was doing interviews with. We did an art-based method. And I said, you know what, let's do something different. And I want you, if you're comfortable, like express whatever you want using art. And so that was what the women produced, and they were very kind to let me share that publicly, to take their pictures out of the session. So I was grateful for that. But I also just want to underscore really quickly, because I know we don't have a lot of time left, that people who are inside are part of our community. Prisons are not separate from our community, and we need to start changing our thinking around, us versus them. Like, I'm here in the free world, quote unquote, and those are the bad folks over there. And that's detrimental, right? So my hope is that my work will not only inspire folks, and there's bridges and coalitions that can be built with like your organization, with Hope, and people that are inside and outside, and just people to really think about the fact that people who are doing time are just like you and I. That's correct. We are not better than them. We are not different from them. Our life circumstances easily could be changed. In a matter of seconds. I have kids. Who knows? God forbid something happens that I have to protect my kids. It might land me in the system, right? So that our mindsets need to change, and that's what I tell my students, is that I want them to, find a way. Like, we know the system is messed up. We know all these things. We know there's racism. We know the sexism exists. We know that all these pieces exist. What are we gonna do about it? Right? Like, that's the big question. What are we? What am I gonna do about it? What are you gonna do about it? What are we
gotta do something.
Gonna do about this? Right?
Let's get it going. So before we go, this is my question to you. Yes, you got I'm going to college and I want to. Tell me your program. Why should I take your program?
Because I teach there, yo.
Doctor, go ahead.
Why should you take? Okay, so the Community Justice Services program, it's expansive, which means it gives folks a lot of opportunities to do different things in the field. So if you're kind of wedded to like a policing and correctional service officer, that's what you want to do, then that's good for you on that. We can give you the tools to not cause more harm. Right. Change the system. Right. And I know it sounds like a bit of a cliche, and but we really are trying to arm our students to do better. And I always tell my students, be better than me. Like, be better, than what came before.
All right, so students, you are the future of tomorrow.
Come to CJS, Humber.
Come to Humber, you know what I'm saying? And
come check me out.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank y'all for watching. Stay tuned. Keep watching. Keep supporting positivity. Let it go viral. God bless. Hope in the Six.
Hope in the Six.
Eddie Martinez, a.k.a. The Dying Thief, and Dr. Rai Reece.
Peace, y'all.
Bless.
I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. I'm gonna be okay. I will fear no evil, that will my rod and my staff. I'm gonna be okay. Thou preparest a table before me in front of my enemies. I'm gonna be okay. Thou anointed my head with oil, and my cup runneth over. All on my shoulder, I'm a soldier, thought I told you. But with Jehovah, so nobody can test. Every day of my life, I'm blessed.